Hey everyone, so it's been a long time since I haven't made any videos because the Range Rover's been broken for a really long time now. So finally, I actually get the time to change the torque converter plate that broke. Gonna make a video on like a kind of a recap of the whole build and build cost and everything, but I couldn't really film anything because it was broken. Here I had to tow it back with the Land Cruiser. So basically what happened the second time is that, what it looks like, I haven't looked into it yet, but the 4 bolts off of the torque converter adapter just sheared right off. So let's get to it. All right, so we are back after a month and a half of wait after the adapter. So finally it's done. So I decided to machine it myself. I had the occasion to use the machines at school to make it. Half conventional, half CNC. So really grateful for that. So basically I decided to redo the adapter because I realized the torque converter was not actually located to the crank of the motor. It was literally just bolted on there now that I see it, which is insane, honestly. So I'll show you guys what I mean. Alright, so the first diameter is done. This is the Land Rover torque converter adapter thingy. So this diameter is now nice and located. Now we're gonna go on to the crank diameter, which is bigger, the original one we had.
Il y a juste un taroudage que je vais aller voir si j'ai jumpé partout. Là. Dans le trou, hein.
Alright, so this is the damage. This is the torque converter like adapter. This bolts to this part right here, sort of like this. Yeah, this thing was destroyed. It was making such a big rattle, and I couldn't figure out why. Like, what was that noise? And man, oof. Once I saw that crack, I was like, oh, that's bad. So this part is actually discontinued, and if I had to buy it, it would have been like such a pain because I don't know where I would have bought it. But luckily, the Range Rover came with a parts truck, and I had a second one. So this is a savior, honestly. My dad found this in the parts bin, and well, in one of the parts bins. This is like the greatest news ever, basically. So I have a new one. That's perfect. So basically, I'm going to show you guys what's up with the adapter here. So this is the original one. Zoom in here. This is the right diameter for the TDI crank. Locates on there. It's nice and snug. The issue is that, well, once these 6 bolts are cranked down to the crank, this part goes over it and comes and locates on here. However, you'd think that this diameter here would be the same as this one. Oh wait, sorry, forgot to mention. The flex plate goes on this. So flex plate bolts on there, and there's like a 4 tapped holes behind there, and it's like a 4 long bolts that go through here. So basically, I thought that this diameter here was locating also this. And I didn't even care to measure it, honestly. It's kind of weird. I forgot to measure this. And I thought that, well, honestly, I forgot to make this taller to then locate this. And then, so I thought like, oh, okay, let's just bolt it up and, you know, hopefully we'll catch a bit of that lip, because it does kind of come out a bit, but barely. Which is hilarious, because when you take this off, it's actually, it's not located at all. The diameter on this is way bigger, and it's actually just to clear this edge if ever it were to come higher by a lot. So you're supposed to locate from the center, which, you know, is pretty obvious now that you look at it. So obviously that was not going to work. No locating. So basically this thing was just weeble wobbling around. It was just bolted by four bolts. And so the updated version now is, well, it's got nice clean counterbores, which is very nice. The 4 through holes, same diameter on the back. These need to be cleaned up. But the difference is the small diameter on the front now. Now that you can feel. Oh, there you go, snug fit, nice and tight, located. So now I'll be able to put the torque converter on this and bolt it up nice and centric. The only issue is I still messed it up. As you can see, there's still a bit of play here. So that's not ideal. And the reason that happened is that I measured this part right here, and as you can see, this one, it's nice and tight. Like, there's no play at all. Well, somehow, I don't know, I measured this diameter and made the other one exactly the same. Flex plate, like, tighter or something. I don't know, honestly, because I really didn't machine it to the right measurement, and it's loose on the other one. So, the trick here is going to be to use feeler gauges. So we're going to figure out how much play we have here. We have 10 thou. Yeah, we definitely have a good 10,000. So that means that I need to get a band of steel that'll be 5 thou thick and kind of slip it in there, or 4 chunks. I'm not too sure, but if I want to have this like perfectly centered. So basically the holes are not entirely tapped, since my teacher only had hand taps, I believe. So he only like hand taps in the CNC machine. So he didn't do like a full tap with the CNC, because it'd be, well, you know, there'd be a huge risk of snapping it. So he only started them maybe like a ½ inch down, and now I'll finish them with a regular hand tap, and should be good to go. Since they're started, it should be like really easy. The thing on the list of possible vibration causes, I think, is the pretty toast transmission mount. So you can see that there's a lot of play in this thing. It's kind of all unstuck, whereas when they're new, they're pretty darn solid. You can't really move these. So I'm gonna replace these. We got also a new one of these, which is just like a ring that bolts on there. And now we put some new bolts in there. And these are nice and clean. Changing the oil cooler lines while we're at it, since the original ones are a mix of steel and rubber and this new size of line for the oil cooler that I had. So yeah, you know, not ideal. And also all the bends are wrong. So this is basically like a fitting that goes from the whatever thread is on the transmission to a AN fitting, and then these are like just push on things. So it's gonna be perfect. This is a diesel line, 300 psi pressure is like plenty. The oil cooler lines. Supposedly these should be pretty good without hose clamps, but I'm gonna put them on anyways. And it's gonna be kind of fun to tighten down a bit. I just finished making the little mounts for these hoses, so like a hose clamp holder thingies. Made some little brackets, so they're bolted on there nice and strong. And yeah, so that's all good to go. Alright, so that's it for that video. Basically what happened with the second breakdown is the 4 bolts were not threaded in far enough. So now I went for longer bolts and higher grade bolts, and also brand new, so not like 20 years old. Actually maybe more like 30. Yeah, so honestly I think that's gonna be pretty solid now. New torque converter plate is in, and especially new adapter. Hopefully you guys liked the video. Really glad to have the truck rolling, so see you guys next time.